Guys, deluded, I'm back again. Now, the Under-19s European Championship, a couple of you have asked me to speak about my opinions in regards to certain players not being included, so we might as well crack on. Now, for those who are not familiar or haven't got the time to be looking at Under-19s Championships and things like that, England won it last time out, but we were going in it to defend it. It's sad because we went out in the group stages. Bitter pill to swallow for myself and definitely the players. Obviously, I believe we lost today against Norway. It wasn't on Sky Sports, so I need to look at the highlights because obviously I was watching Arsenal play at the time. Allegedly, yeah, we missed out on an under-20 World Cup space. If we beat them for third place, the playoff that we played today, we would have got a place in the under-20 edition of the World Cup next year, which we're also defending. So after all the good work that England have been doing at youth level, the numerous youth levels, youth tournaments we've won from under-17s all the way up to under-20s, knowing that there's going to be a new under-20 World Cup winner because we can't defend it, knowing that the side was the English side that went out there today and this tournament for the under-19s was seriously depleted. So I must admit, players do have a hard decision. I mean, the likes of Jadon Sancho, Emil Rose-Smith, who've won it at under-17s level, and you'd think would be two names you would have been thrown into this under-19 side. You've got Callum Hudson-Odoi. You saw what he did against Perth in pre-season for Chelsea. You've got Foden, who's obviously off with City doing his thing, trying to get in their side. Ryan Sessegnon's gearing up for an important season with Fulham. And there's Eddie Nketiah, Joel Willock and Reece Nelson all could have got called up as well. New manager at Arsenal, they're all trying to play football. Eddie Nketiah and definitely Reece Nelson on the cusp of first team, along with Emil Rose-Smith. And I think Willock is slightly behind them, but he's close as well if you look on the basis that he's been included for the last season and the early campaigns in Unai Emery's time. So it is a difficult decision. Obviously, now when I look at the counterparts of other clubs, I see Cousins of Gladbach playing for France. You see Mangala Sarr, who's played a bag of times for Nice for his side. Who else is there? There's obviously Goutain, who was loaned back to El Havre, his side, the side that they bought him from. And when I first started watching him, Reigns loaned him back there last season. So you would think, obviously, if he's starting a new season with his new club, signed for 10 million and things, so you're obviously going to be part of the first team. You would think he'd want to be at pre-season, getting to do the tactics and stuff like that. Because more time, if you're out of sight, you're out of mind for managers. So it's a difficult decision. When I look at the examples I've just given you with foreign players or their foreign counterparts doing it, there's not really much weight to be held in what I'm about to say. But I do think it's a tough decision, man. It's a tough decision. I don't think you definitely can't underestimate winning things at youth level, whatever country you're from, whoever you are, because you look at the trajectory. Pogba's won it at under 20 level, World Cup I'm referring to, obviously. He's won not just him, Titi as well. They've won the actual thing outright. If you remember the German players that was coming up with Ozil, Khedira, Muller, obviously they all had success at under 21 level, and then they're all World Cup winners now. Spain had the same more or less as well, so you can see the benefits. For me, definitely some of them players that were involved at under 17s level, I know my guy Nia Kirby, who I really love as a footballer, could have been there as well, was there. The rest of the couple of them boys could have been there as well. Even Gomez of United, yeah, I know Greenwood's probably under 17s, probably under 18s, but even him, because I rate him highly, I would have called him up. So it is a difficult decision. Like, it was an understrength side. There's still some quality, but it was an understrength side, so naturally they went out. Eddie was at Toulon as well, so it wouldn't be fair. So was Reece James, who probably could have went as well. So it was a depleted side, but nonetheless, it is disappointing in the way we went out, because I can't remember if it was Uruguay or Ukraine. We drew that game and we should have won it and we would have went through. But it's a difficult one, man. It's a difficult one. Because if I put myself in these lot's shoes, obviously you want to play for your country, you want to win stuff at international level. It starts with continuation. It helps you get the hunger for trophies and things like that. Panzo could have been there as well, but I get it. Like, it's an impossible task. When you look at Cousins and Goutain, like I said, and a couple others, they're not really. I'm not going to be naive. Of course, they have to fight for a first team spot, but it's not really like these boys that are at Premier League sides in that it's more or less. And no matter how good you are, and these players are all good, and majority of them, in my opinion, definitely Foden, Sancho, Sessegnon, Nelson, Emil Rose-Smith could possibly mount as well at Chelsea. I don't know if he's too old for this level now. A couple of them could get England recognition with regards to under 20, the Euro under 20s Euro 2020, and possibly the World Cups. We're seeing a great bunch of players, but it's a difficult one. Do you go with your country and try and win and things like that and risk being out of sight, out of mind? Other youngsters might get opportunities. Other players might get bought. You can't really express what you could sell, what you can do for your manager. Ultimately, you don't want to be playing academy football, so you want to show what you can do. Do you go to pre-season and not win trophies with your country or possibly compete with your country and get caps, or do you go? It's tough, man. If you look at even if you look at all of it's hard. Foden, no matter how good you are at City, they're buying quality players. It's almost I think he'll break in because he's that good, but it's almost an impossible task. So he has to be there in pre-season. He has to be there to learn the tactics, to put himself in the shop window for the manager to play him, to bulk up and things. Which if you're looking at City, Foden's getting there physically. It's these sort of things. Sancho had a good season after having to be kind of patient for Dortmund. He's doing his thing, and if you saw him against City in pre-season, he was doing his thing, and it's all about starting and things like that. Nelson and Nketiah, Joe Willock and Emile Smith, they've got a new manager at the club. Now, clearly, Unai Emery knew about all of them before, and they're all highly rated. And Nketiah and Nelson made great strides in regards to first-team football last year. Emile Smith done his thing with the FA Youth Cup and things. But it's a new manager. It's literally a new manager. That manager, if we don't assume that he knows about them, that new manager might not give a crap. And ultimately, because it's a new manager, he might rate you that highly that he plays you. So I fully understand these players when they don't want to. I don't want to say they don't want to go off at and play for their countries, but why they stay. So yeah, Ryan Sessegnon. I mean, he's probably left it. He has left this level. To be fair, on one hand, he's left this level. You think give chances to other people. On the other hand, because of his experience, like you saw with Francis Cousins of Gladbach, he could be, if he's not actually wearing the armbands, he could be a mature leader, a captain for the side. Ultimately, he's a quality player as well, whether he play him at fullback or left wing. But he's got, like I said, it's an important season with Fulham, and he wants to be a part of that after the good seasons he's had. And clearly, he's going to be a first-team player next year, so he has to kind of stay. It's an impossible job. Eddie Nketiah is kissing first team at Arsenal. He's made his debut. He scored his goals against Norwich. He's kissing first team. He's kissing it. He's got a new number. He's kissing it. It's a lighty. He's lipsing it. He just needs to, say, do you want to go back to yard and that. But he's kissing it. And obviously he's played at Toulon. So does he risk all of that and go away with the under-19s? Now I think Mavididi's good, but I'd probably rate Nketiah slightly higher. If he was to go, other people might get his chance, and then you're back to square one sort of thing. Do you get what I'm saying? Like in the same way, if one of them went, Rene Adelaide might have been able to take advantage of that. So it is a tough. I don't think there's any rights or wrongs. Hudson-Odoi of Chelsea, he would have teared up this under-19s championship despite being 17, turning 18 soon. He would have annihilated some of these teams that England have faced. But again, it's a new manager. He's trying to break in, and arguably you could say he's backed up because he put in a great, like Emile Smith did against Atletico. He's put in a great performance. Fair enough, his Perth glory, no disrespect. He's put in a great performance, and now there's a buzz, talk of new contract, talk of promotion and things like that. So yeah, man, I don't think there's a right or wrong to this, people. Like I said, I sympathise with the nation because at the end of the day, England's under-19s had to fill a depleted side. And now, after having so much success at youth level, winning competitions and advancing and developing technically based players and having a great talent pool, I don't want to say we're back to square one, but it's disappointing. We won Toulon, we could have retained the under-19s, and we could have qualified for next year's edition of the Under-20 World Cup. And even if you look at that, I don't even think too many of them Under-20 World Cup winners are playing for their clubs too often. I know Doyle's trying to break in. Onoma's got his thing going on. Solanke made a couple appearances. I'd probably, off the top of my head, Maitland, but being biased because it's Arsenal, but Maitland now's probably made the most strides. So yeah, it can, for me, on one hand, it can provide a platform. For one, it provides a platform. Two, you can never turn down the opportunity to play for your country. Three is tournament football. You learn stuff as a young player. You learn. You can't do certain things. Like, look at these under-20s. Chalobah, for instance, not to dig him out. He's going on loan in the Championship next year. I think he had a poor tournament. 2 games, balls are going over his head and he's being naive and just watching it. Now, I don't know if that's because 9 times out of 10 he's physically stronger than everyone. 9 times out of 10 Chelsea's academy are bullying everyone, so he might not have to defend too much. But he watched it. I made the review. He watched it. The Ukrainian striker finessed him for the ball and pull it in. These are the things you've got to learn. Because if you go and do that playing for Ipswich, you're going to get dropped out of the team and you're not going to go back in it. Because you need to remember, these Championship is a hard league to get out. I'm sure Ipswich want to get out. I'm sure they don't want to get relegated. They want to win games. Managers are under extreme pressure, so they have to be able to trust people. The hardest thing to probably trust is probably, I'd say as a young player, is trusting a young goalie, a young striker if you're in issues, and probably a young centre-half in my opinion. So yeah, you run the risk. You really need to fix up. To be honest, a lot of people need to fix up. If I'm honest, and that's not to dig him out, but what I mean by that is you quickly see what you're good and what you're not good at, and you have something to think about. Ultimately, it's tournament football, and like when you look back, whether it's under-19s or full England international, who doesn't like trophies? So I must admit, if I put myself in Sancho's shoes, Ryan Sessegnon's shoes, Foden, Nelson, etc. shoes, I'm going to do exactly what they did and be at pre-season, wherever the team is going on tour, wherever it is. That's my honest opinion, because I'd want to play for my country and play for my club. I'd want to play for my country, but it's a difficult position. I'm so sure Nelson and Willock withdrew from the squad, to be fair with you. Well, it is what it is at this point, man. So, yeah, that's my opinions on it anyways. I don't feel there's a wrong or right. It's a difficult position. It's a really difficult position. And I know it's slightly different, but if we look at the Olympics a couple years ago, I even tweeted it. I said, Gnabry's allowed to go to the World Cup. This man's going to leave the squad. I mean, to the Olympics. The man's going to leave Arsenal. I said that when it happened. Why did I say that? Because it's pre-season. You're planning your squad. Iwobi and Gnabry were in the side. Iwobi's Nigeria qualified, and so did Gnabry's Germany, obviously. Iwobi was told you can't go because we need to focus on first team. Gnabry was let go. And that, in hindsight, that helped him build a platform. But obviously, if you're saying man can go and play football and that for them, does that tell you that are you trying to count on someone for the season? Or you're not, are you? You're clearly counting on the world because you're telling them, listen, we need to pattern up the tactics. You need to be here, part of the preparations. But Gnabry, you can go, come back when you want. That shows you don't really rate someone, is it? So yeah, there's no rights or wrongs in this, in my opinion, man. Like, yeah, there's no rights or wrongs. I wouldn't begrudge anyone for turning down being involved in first team to under-19s, but I would be picking first team each and every time, man, because a lot of these players I've listed have actually, I think they're above this level now, and a lot of them should be playing for the under-21s. Out of all the names I've said, probably only Willock should stay at this level, because I don't quite feel he would impact under-21s or under-20s substantially versus the likes of Sessegnon, Foden, Nelson, Sancho, Emerald Smith even, etc., etc. So yeah, man. Guys, deluded. Get in the comments, subscribe, and do the rest. I hope I've given you guys a lot to think about. For those who asked me on this subject, I hope I've delivered. But yeah, guys, I'm out. Thank you very much for watching. It means the world.